Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're jumping headfirst into a brilliantly calculated hype phenomenon that actually centers around a literal red clay brick. Back in 2016, the streetwear powerhouse brand Supreme dropped this item, creating this wild psychological experiment that exposed exactly how your brain buys status. And honestly, the whole thing is absolutely fascinating. Section 1. The $40 brick. Now, just to be super clear here, we're not talking about a phone case cleverly shaped like a brick. It wasn't a brick-patterned leather wallet. No, it was an actual, physical, 5-pound piece of masonry. Red clay. Rough edges, the whole shebang. And the retail price tag for this completely non-functional, everyday construction material, $40. Just sit with that for a second. $40 for a literal brick that does absolutely nothing. But here's where the hype machine kicks into high gear. When this item went live on their website, it didn't just sit there gathering digital dust. It sold out in exactly 29 seconds, less than half a minute for a global inventory of heavy clay to just completely vanish into the shopping carts of rabid consumers. And then, within just hours of that 29-second frenzy, people were actually turning around and paying $1,000 for it on the secondary market. Let that sink in. $1,000 for a brick. And not because they were building some incredibly expensive tiny little wall, right? Not because it performed any useful function whatsoever. They paid $1,000 simply because it was stamped with a red box logo. Section 2. The Veblen good effect. So you gotta wonder, what on earth is the underlying logic of this seemingly chaotic market? How does a $40 clay brick instantly become a $1,000 must-have item? Well, to understand that, we have to look at economic theory, specifically a concept called a Veblen good. By definition, a Veblen good is an item that actually becomes more desirable as its price goes up, which directly contradicts the basic laws of supply and demand. Economists have studied this for over 120 years, usually looking at things like high art or vintage diamonds. But Supreme? They didn't just use this theory, they completely hacked it by replacing high art craftsmanship with manufactured internet hype. Section 3. The psychology of scarcity. So what is the consumer actually buying here? Because I promise you, it isn't baked clay. You are buying status. Neurologically speaking, securing a hyped item triggers massive dopamine loops. It acts as an instant social signal to the rest of the community. The internal monologue of the buyer sounds exactly like this. I was fast enough. I was online at exactly 11 a.m. I beat you. It's just a pure, unadulterated flex of internet reflexes and brand loyalty. And resellers, they implicitly understand the psychology. They know the $1,000 price tag isn't for the utility of the brick. The buyer is paying for the tangible, physical proof of winning the drop. The brick is literally just a receipt of victory that happens to weigh 5 pounds. It's a trophy. Section 4. Scarcity without quality. Now, this completely flips the script on what makes an item valuable. Think about traditional luxury brands like Rolex. They limit their watches, sure, but they also invest heavily in extreme craftsmanship, precious metals, and real heritage. Supreme realized something entirely groundbreaking. They limit bricks and invest in absolutely nothing. They proved that scarcity without quality is still highly effective scarcity. So, the absolutely crucial point to remember here is that the access is the product. For this brand, the physical product itself is entirely irrelevant compared to the exclusivity it represents. If you can get it and others can't, the item itself doesn't actually matter at all. Section 5. The resale market boom. Because this brick wasn't an isolated joke, and it certainly wasn't a one-off mistake. Over the years, Supreme has released branded crowbars, fire extinguishers, nunchucks, even bolt cutters. Notice the theme: none of these items have any practical function for their buyers. Their complete lack of utility is replaced entirely by one story. I got it, you didn't. That is the real utility of these accessories. And let me tell you, that story pays off incredibly well. By 2023, the resale market specifically for these completely useless, purely status-driven accessories hit a staggering $180 million. Just an absolute fortune built entirely on the back of manufactured exclusivity. Section 6. Why you keep competing. That $40 brick wasn't just a product. It was a diagnosis of the modern consumer condition. It proved definitively that consumers will buy literally anything if a brand successfully makes them feel like they're winning a competition. It brilliantly hacks our innate desire for status and victory. So, I really want you to honestly think about this. Look around your room right now. Check your closet, look at your desk. How many things did you buy not because you desperately needed them, not because of the amazing craftsmanship, but simply because they were a limited edition, just because there was a countdown timer, or maybe because you just wanted to beat everyone else to the checkout button? This psychology of scarcity is everywhere, and you are likely still competing in games you don't even realize you're playing. So next time you see a sold out sign, ask yourself, are you buying the product or are you just buying the right to say you want? Anyway, before you line up for your next big drop, make sure you hit subscribe, because in our next explainer, we're going to expose exactly why those $400 limited edition sneakers you're stressing over actually only cost $12 to make. See you then.